Hello Hornets, welcome and thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be taking a look at working with our calculators in order to find velocities and see when velocities are equal. So we also have a question here on average values and finding a derivative using our calculator. Now a couple of things to be aware of. When you're putting in your functions, I'm going to go ahead and put my first function in, cosine of x. Notice that the question has a t as opposed to an x. And when we're doing this, we do need to make sure that we use a function, and we'll be using x. You should always check your mode and make sure that you are in radian mode before you begin. Once I've got that, I can now put in my derivative. This is under math 8. So we have math 8x. If you hit alpha trace, that's alpha trace, you can then use y1 over all x values, and over all x values will allow you to graph the function. I'm then going to go to the second function, which is e to the power of negative 4x. Move the arrow to the right and do plus x. Then I'm going to go down and do math 8 again. X is the variable of differentiation, and we now want alpha trace y3. Then I'm going to put over all x again. Now if I were to graph this as it is, I'm going to see 4 different curves, but I only want the 2 velocities. Since I only want the 2 velocities, I'm going to go back up to the first function. Once again, this is the equivalent position function 1, and move the arrow so that it is on the black box with the equal sign in the middle. By hitting enter, the box goes away, and that tells me that the function is no longer on. I will repeat the process on y3, hit enter, and now I can do my windows. This is from 0 to 10. And the best way to do this is zoom fit. Zoom fit is zoom 0. And now I let the calculator do all of the work for me. So here's our first function. Notice it's the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine. And then we have our derivative of the second. Now when we look at this, we can see clearly that there are 2 points of intersection. Now if I attempt to find that second point of intersection, be aware I will have to find the maximum value of the function, and I will end up having a limit. So please be aware that working with a limit, it's going to give me a 0.999998. So 6 9s and an 8. That is equivalent to 1. If I then find the value at the same place on the graph of the purple graph, or the teal, what I'm going to notice is that I get a 1 as well for my y value. And therefore, the functions are indeed equal at that maximum and are intersecting. Therefore, our answer to number 1 is 2. You will see these questions on the AP test, so be prepared to find derivatives from a given function. Let's go ahead and now, I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to find the average value. Now you need to remember the average value is a secant line from point to point. So we want to go from the point on the function at 2 to the point that's at 7, and we want the slope of those from those 2 points. So I'm going to put them in. X, let's try that again, Mr. Lamb, quit, back to y equals. We're going to put x math 3, that gives me the cube, minus e to the value of x, and go to my home screen. Now I'm going to put in alpha y equals will give me the fraction, and I'm then going to do alpha trace y1 at 7 minus alpha trace y1 at 2. These are now function notation for the 2 y values, and the calculator will find them without us needing to actively put in those values. We then have 7 minus 2, and when we hit enter, we get negative 150.8488. This is now the slope of the secant line between the 2 points on h of 7 and h of 2. Change in distance in the denominator and change in height for the numerator. The change in height over the change in x is called dy dx, which is our average value. Okay, keep that in mind. Change of position over the change in time is an average velocity. Change in x over the change in y is an average value. Let's go ahead and now go to number 3. Now the reason I put number 3 in is because it has a sine cubed, and we need to make sure that we can practice our sine cubed. To do that, we have to have a parenthesis, sine of 7 minus x squared, close the parenthesis twice, and then put your cube in. Notice we are not able to put the cube between the sine and x minus x squared, or 7 minus x squared. So it has to go behind. I can now go to my home screen, and I can hit Math 8, the derivative of the function that I put into y1 at pi divided by 3. When I hit enter, I get my derivative, and I end up with negative 0.8020. That is the derivative of the given function, being careful to make sure we cube the sine of 7 minus x squared so that we can find our correct value. Thank you very much. I hope this has helped. If it has, please remember to click like, and if you have suggestions, please feel free to give me constructive criticism. Thank you very much, Hornets. Be safe, take care, be kind to each other. Bye-bye now.